Yeah.
Okay. Shalom, Israel. This is I.S.U.P.K, Historical Truths Revealed class. And today we are going to touch on a very important topic. And today's topic is the war on drugs. We are going to touch on the war on drugs concerning Black, Hispanic, and Native American people. This is a topic that you should really take heed to, because with this topic you have information, you have events that took place before the actual war on drugs in the 60s and 70s that led up to this, time period of Black and Hispanics being, systematically destroyed by drugs. All right? Thanks to the white man, of course. Thanks to Ronald Reagan, Nixon, thanks to the CIA, Nancy Reagan as well. And we're also going to talk about a little bit of, their share of hands. They're participants in the crime in which they committed against Black and Hispanics, all right? So, first thing we're going to get into is this. It's the Cold War. The Cold War was something that happened in September 2nd, 1945, which was after World War II. That's when it ended, okay? And when this happened with the Cold War, you had a split in the world. And there were two forces that were split into the world, which was America being the first one and Russia being the second power as well. These two powers within World War II were untouched. And a lot of people may think, well, why was that? At this time, Russia and America had a very strong military force system in which they had to protect themselves as a country, all right? And, America and Russia have always been known for their strong, sense of conquering and destroying and defeating other places on the earth. So, that being said, like, for example, America's main land never got destroyed, like New York, D.C., Philly, Los Angeles, never got touched. When you think about Russia, Russia was good as well, but the Germans still came into Russia and crossed the borders, but never touched their mainland like Moscow and, places like that. Their mainland as far as, corrupting their government. The government still stayed strong and never got touched, all right? But while America and Russia, these two forces, being the most, untouchable, undefeatable countries, other places was getting destroyed, like, Germany, France, Switzerland, Denmark, Italy, Great Britain, Poland. These are the places that were being attacked and being overthrown, while America and Russia was on its 2 feet standing the whole time during the Cold War, okay? So let's fast forward a little bit. With the Cold War as well, around this time, it was a time where people had to choose whether they wanted to be, they had to choose between two ideologies, between America and Russia, between these two powers. Either you be a communist or a capitalist. And what that means is this: Russia was part of communism. Communism is the system in which everybody in all the Russians was centralized, would pick one leader or one head figure. And with that one head figure, he was recognized as the one who was in charge, the one who had the authority. And he chose every decision. He made every decision for everyone in Russia, and no one could do anything about it. So it was one government, meaning one person at this time that was centralized, one leader for the whole entire Russia, like a president. Okay, that was communism. But with communism, you had hypocrisy, because in communism, everybody wanted equal pay. Everybody's supposed to have equal pay. But always, in a white man's hypocrisy, you have something called corruption. And with the corruption, you had people who were at the top with a group of people who were making more money than everybody else. But the thing is, they were lying to people about the equal pay. So all the doctors, all the lawyers, all the plumbers, electricians, bankers were all supposed to get paid the same. But that was not the case. So while the people were at the top making the most money, everybody else at the bottom were suffering. It sounds just like, you know, today with America as well, all right? So now America. America, you have something called capitalism. America is a republic and a democratic country as well, with democracy. And with democracy, with the capitalism, you have a system of demand which drives supply. So for example, let's pretend that this is a bottle of water, right? Everybody wants, not everybody wants to drink out of a faucet. Not everybody wants to drink out of a sink. But some people want to drink out of plastic bottle. So since I am the manufacturer of plastic bottles or plastic, I get to decide how much I want to sell my product. So the more of the demands that people want a request for plastic or bottled water, the higher the supply goes. So for example, 1 month I can tell you, hey, if you want bottled water inside of plastic instead of out of a faucet, because it's more clean, it's more healthy, that's the perception that people have, then I'll sell it to you for $2. That's cool. But the more request, the more demand for bottled water versus faucet water, tap water, then I have control of whether if I want to make the price higher or lower. So I could come to you in 5 months later. Yeah, well, if you want plastic, if you want a bottled water, it's 50 cents extra. So the more of the demand, the more the capitalist gets richer, pretty much. The manufacturers get rich. So that's how it was in America. And it makes so much sense today because that's how it is today. If you go to the grocery store today, all the prices is damn near changed. Like for example, as a kid, I remember going to the corner store trying to get hot Cheetos. Hot Cheetos was 99 cents supposedly, $1. Now it jumps from that to $1.10 to now $1.50.
So
Go ahead.
I remember at McDonald's they used to actually have a dollar menu.
That's right.
Where you pay $1. Now you're paying like $1.25.
Yeah.
For a double cheeseburger.
Double cheeseburger, you're right, and that's the same thing with like the little coffee and everything else that they got at McNasty. That's what I call it. I don't like McDonald's. That's just disgusting. But that's right. You see what I'm saying? And that has always happened with the economy of America. All right. So capitalism, which is the system of demand drives supply. The more requests for something, the higher the supply is going to get. That's also with weapons. That's also with food. And they say America was known for a free market, which is not true because everything is going up. Everything costs. Okay. So moving on. So after World War II, there was a split between the two powers. Either you had to be a communist or you had to be a capitalist. All right. So you had to choose between the two ideologies at the time because America and Russia had a lot of power during the Cold War, during a lot of the wars. All right. Okay. Let me see something real quick. No, you're actually good. In a second, I want you to go to that one article, okay?
Which one?
All right, so also after World War II, with the Korean War, became a communist place because of Russia. So South Korea was taken over by Russia, okay? And they had control over the oil, the rice fields. They also had control over the weapons manufacturing as well, which plays a big part into what we're talking about with the war on drugs, okay? All right, so let me just keep going. Oh, it's like y'all almost forgot something. Also, with the American government, the people of America will not centralize one leader, but they will have a group of leaders to make decisions for the people, to be the voice of the people of America. So that was the difference between Russia and America.
3.2 million
Okay?
cats enter animal shelters.
Don't worry about that. It's all good. Just turn the volume down, all the way down, right here. Yeah, just turn it all the way down so it don't happen again. So, that was the difference between Russia and America. America and Russia had two different ideologies. You have to choose between the two. It's like saying choosing between the two different religions, okay? So, South Korea became capitalist. No, Slovakia. North Korea became capitalist because of America. And South Vietnam. And then you had Russia, who was working with another place. Okay, so I need you to get to I need you to go to Fidel Castro real quick.
Come.
All right, so we're gonna touch on Fidel Castro for a second, okay? Because Fidel Castro was the leader or president of Cuba at the time. Not too long ago, actually, about some years ago. And with Fidel Castro, he kicked out all American influence. People of America, all the Americans that were working in Russia. Working in Cuba. All right? And with Cuba as well, just like Nicaragua also kicked out all American influence because they felt like that it was being centralized, Americanized. They felt like it was being too much of an American country, so they wanted their government back. They wanted their history back. They wanted everything that said Nicaragua back. They didn't want nothing that had to do with America. So all the bankers, all the rich men, all those people that were over there in Nicaragua had got, thrown out, had got kicked out. And that explains why, if you go back and you think about all the old white men around the war that was out there in Miami, Florida, that was because they were rich one point in time and they were, working out the country. Now they're all homeless and, flooded the whole Miami, Florida, okay? Go ahead and let me see. So around 1960 and the 70s, the world in the Western Hemisphere took a lot of tragedies, like John F. Kennedy being killed, and Fidel Castro, get into a confrontation with America. Okay, I need you to read a little bit about Fidel Castro. Go ahead and get that before we real quick out.
Starting from here?
Yeah, from 1959 to 1976. No, it's like it says was a Cuban communist revolutionary. That right there.
Right. Fidel Castro was a Cuban communist revolutionary and politician who governed the Republic of Cuba as prime minister from 1959 to 1976.
Mm-hmm.
And then as president from 1976 to 2008. Politically, what is that? Marx, is that something?
Yeah, that's right, Marx.
Leninist,
Mm-hmm.
and Cuban nationalist. Castro also served as the first secretary of the Communist Party of Cuba
Right.
from 1961 until 2011. Under
Mhm.
his administration, Cuba became a one-party communist state.
Oh, Salaki, actually, what I need you to get, I need you to get the uh, uh, the invasion of Fidel Castro. That's what I need. The invasion where America tried to kill him.
You want to?
Yep. You go ahead and get that. Yep. You can drop that one and just get that. All right. So I'm just gonna recap for one more second, okay? Because what happened is this. After the people got kicked out of Cuba, so there's no American influence. So Fidel Castro took back Cuba. Once he took back Cuba and kicked them out to Miami, Florida, all right, what happened was that there was a hit or there was an attack trying to be, it was an attack towards Fidel Castro. America was trying to kill him, long story short. You ain't got to get no sweat. Fidel Castro was trying to be killed by America because, what he did and kicked them out. You know what I mean? The white man had hard feelings. And the white man was also upset because he had money coming in from, being in Cuba. So, and this is also called the Bay of Pigs. Actually, get that, yeah. Get the Bay of Pigs.
Bay of Pigs?
Yep, B-A-Y of Pigs. That's it, Bay of Pigs. That's it, yeah. That's what it's called. So the Bay of Pigs was a failed military invasion on Fidel Castro because of him kicking out the Americans out of, Cuba and trying to retake and gain the power and gain the government or trying to industrialize their place. And what's funny is the next place that we jump into, the next country that we jump into, it was the same situation. America was never loved. America was never, respected to a certain extent. In order for them to get that respect and love, they had to, do something wicked, about it, like violence. See what I'm saying? They had to overthrow some shit. Weapons, war. That's always how it's always been with America against everybody else. Okay? All right. I want you to read a little bit of that, okay?
Calm.
All right. Give us 1 second. You got it? You just go down. Yep, you got it. Go ahead. Read that for me.
Bay of Pigs. On January 1st, 1959, a young Cuban nationalist named Fidel Castro drove his guerrilla army into Havana and overthrew General Fulgencio Batista. The nation's American-backed president. From the next 2 years, officials at the United States Department and the Central Intelligence Agents, aka CIA,
That's right,
attempted to push Fidel Castro from power. Finally, in April 1961, the CIA launched what its leaders believed would be the defensive strike, a full-scale invasion of Cuba by 1,400 American-trained Cubans who had fled their homes when Castro took over.
Stop right there. So what happened was this. America's way of getting back at anybody or getting back at Fidel Castro was to attack him with a missile. Attack the Cuba with missiles to try to, gain the power and get more influence, American influence, back into Cuba.
Salaki.
Go ahead.
Also, I noticed while reading that what they did was use the Cuban people against each other.
Right.
Pretty much what they did was divide and conquer. They put Cubans against other Cubans, just like they're doing today in America with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They're putting us against each other, and that's why we staying destroyed.
Come. And that's very deep why he says that, because all through history, that's what you always seen. You always seen that America has tried anything in its power to divide and conquer, anything, and that always been the spirit. That's always been the case of Esau, so-called Edomite. All right, well, Esau being a progenitor, the father of the Edomites, who are the white race. Okay, so America and Russia are both white. Okay, you got the white man fighting another white man, but also you had white people fighting against niggas as well. All right, and I will explain that. So moving on from that, John F. Kennedy, with this situation, John F. Kennedy had to squash the whole entire thing. He had to come out to the public and speak about this so that America and Cuba was having no more problems anymore. So he had to squash that. So things was good between Cuba and America after John F. Kennedy came out and spoke about it and squashed the whole beef between the two after that failed, military invasion. Okay? So now, later years, the Sandinist National Liberation Group. Now, Sandinistas are a group that was created by the Russians. Okay? Now, no, yeah. But the Sandinist National Liberation Group was created in, Nicaragua. All right, it was created in Nicaragua. Russia had, had their back, had supported the Sandinistas in there in Nicaragua. And now this was a military force to protect Nicaragua. They were also in battle with the Contras. I'll speak more about the Contras in a second, okay? But the Sandinist objective and plan was to do this, was to take back their country. Once they also, what this place also did, they also kicked out all American influence. So all your rich businessmen, your bankers, all these people had to leave Nicaragua as well. So when they left Nicaragua, they went back to America. And when they went back to America, there was an export. The export was crack cocaine, powder cocaine, as you may know. And I'm going to explain that in a second. But what I want to say about Nicaragua is once the American influence was out of Nicaragua, they wanted to industrialize themselves. So they wanted to educate themselves. They wanted to learn the basic life of living and survival. So they didn't take in no request from anybody, right? Until this. By the time Ronald Reagan got elected, right? He sent aid over to Nicaragua. Nicaragua, they took it for a while. They were negotiating about it. But what stopped the aid, what stopped Ronald Reagan for supplying the aid over to Nicaragua was when he realized that no matter what, Nicaragua was not going to compromise. They were not going to set up any government that was from America. They was not going to allow any businesses in Nicaragua because Ronald Reagan and the CIA had something going on, which was the export and making cash and money trading off cocaine from Nicaragua and from other places as well. So, before I touch on a little bit more of Ronald Reagan, let's get to this real quick. From 1953 to 1979, a man by the name of Shah who ran Iran, all right, who ran Iran for a time. Now, the people of Iran hated him. They hated Shah. Shah was the king, the emperor of Iran, but they hated him. And the reason why, because they said that he was westernized. Westernized meaning Americanized, because America is in the western hemisphere of the world. So they were upset about what he was doing. And what Western Americanized means is this. They said that, it came out that, he didn't keep the law of like, the Islamic law, the culture, the heritage. He was untouched. He was untouched with it. He was out there getting high, shaved beard. If you look at him, he looked like American to me. You see what I'm saying? American white boy to me. But he had a shaved face, clean face, no beard. He was getting high. It was said that he was getting high. It was also said that he was messing around with American women. So whores, white whores. And so, later what happened is that he got overthrown by a man named Ayatollah. Ayatollah. And I'm going to get into that. Actually, grab that article of Ayatollah. It's Ayatollahh. All right? So, this right here is kind of funny, though. Also, Iran is spiritually... Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. No. That's a revolution. Iran is a revolution. Ayatollah overthrew Shah. No, that's right. It's a lie. It's good. Go up. Go all the way up. Yeah, you're good. So, also, the people of Iran wanted this man overthrown as well. And once he got overthrown, he fled over to Egypt. And America helped him and supported him because he was supporting America all along in the first place. All right? So, I need you to read a little bit about that.
You want me to go all the way in or just read this?
I just want you to read the part where it says the Islamic Revolution. The Islamic Revolution. I need you to be loud.
The Islamic Revolution, or the 1979 revolution, refers to events involving the overthrow of the Pahlavi dynasty under Muhammad Raza Shah Pahlavi, who was supported by the United States,
right,
and eventual replacement of 2,500 years of continuous Persian monarchy with an Islamic republic.
That's good. So what that's saying is that in the Islamic Revolution War in 1979, Shah, who was king and emperor, had got overthrown by a man of named Ayatollah. And Ayatollah was the man to bring back the Islamic culture, the Islamic law, and the beards. And he was also I believe they call it Shia. Shia was an Islamic people who was very strict, very cold. They stuck with what they were brought into as far as their culture, meaning they were the type of people that would never forsake the law. Like if a woman was being caught, sinning in their terms or committing adultery, they would cut their arm off. They would cut their body parts off. They would stone them. It sounds like the Levitical priesthood because that's where they got it from. See what I'm saying? So you got the Shias and then you got the Shiites. Shiites were more lenient. They really they kind of had their face shaved and pretty much like Shah. Shah was more of a Shiite, not a Shia. And these words kind of sound similar, but that's the culture of the Iranians Iranians. Okay. So Ayatollah was the man to bring back the culture, and he wanted that influence to stay strong in Iran. And when that happened, there was no more American influence, no more capitalism in here. It was all communist, no more capitalism, no more trying to make money in this place, no more deals, no more treaties, none of that. So, and that hurt the white man to his core because the white man wasn't making any money. So now let's fast forward. And all this that I'm talking about ties into Ronald Reagan being elected into the war on drugs, okay? So, In 1980, Ronald Reagan became president of the United States, alongside with Vice President George H.W. Bush. Don't get confused with, the devil. They're both devils. The oldest son, George W. Bush, but his father, who came before in the 1980s. Now, before George Herbert Walker Bush was vice president, he was a senator. So he was a senator, then he became vice president, okay, underneath Ronald Reagan. Now, the vice president, George Herbert Walker Bush, was also he also had ties. He had ties with another country, and he was also a director of the CIA, which is the Central Intelligence Agency. So the job of the CIA was to spy on everybody in America, or everybody, no, not just America, Slovakia, everybody in the whole entire world, because they wanted to keep the stay the way that it was, okay? All right. Okay. So in the 1960s, 1970s, you had Bush, who was a senator. In 1977, Bush became, the director as well. And also, he was also a businessman, what a lot of people don't tell you. He was a businessman of an oil company. And because he was making, he was he was working with the Saudi Arabians. And with the Saudi Arabians, the only reason why they had to deal with them is because they didn't want America to mess with them, pretty much. And that's kind of funny, because America provokes, situations to happen. He puts fear in other countries' hearts, so that way they can, serve them. So with the oil, with the money that was happening with the trading in the oil in Saudi Arabia, who was getting the money? America was. So that was another source of income from America. See, the whole purpose of America trying to get on everybody's good side, or get them on their good side, is that so they can make profit, they can continue to be strong, they can see what the hell is going on over here. It reminds you, with George W.H. Bush being what? Him being the CIA, being a part of the CIA, he was spying on everybody that he had deals with, broker deals. Okay? And this is where it all comes into play. It comes to play when all the Cold Wars start to happen. If you think about the Vietnam War, the CIA was behind that. They were watching and monitoring everything. They were having the backs of so-called, the Vietnamese people. They was having the backs of people in the World War II, World War One. See what I'm saying? All these wars. So with that being said, the CIA came up with a group called the Contras. The Contras were a group formulated by the CIA to fight against the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, so they can get some more influence, American influence back in there, so they can start making more money, start selling the crack and cocaine, okay? Because the money was running slow at the time when they was getting kicked out, so it wasn't being as sold, it wasn't flourishing as it was supposed to. All right. Let me get something real quick. Get more about. I need you to go to George H.W. Bush real quick for me out.
Come on.
Yeah, it should be in the middle. Yeah.
Want me to start from the top?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Come. George Herbert Walker Bush is an American politician who served as the 41st President of the United States from 1989 to 1993. Prior to assuming the presidency, Bush was the 43rd Vice President of the United States. Mm-hmm. From 1981 to 1989. a member of the Republican Party. He had previously been a congressman, ambassador, and director of Central Intelligence,
Right.
CIA.
Yeah.
While active in the public sector, he was known simply as George Bush. Since 2001, he was often being referred to as George H.W. Bush. Bush the Elder, or George Bush Sr., in order to distinguish him from his elder son, George W. Bush, the 43rd President of the United States.
Okay. Start right there. So also with this being said, the Ronald Reagan administration, which is also ties into the CIA, they were also doing other things as well. They were teaching the drug dealers how to sell drugs, how to create the drugs, which we'll also get into a little bit deeper in a second. So with the and what's so funny about this, Ronald Reagan being the president, he knew about this situation. His representatives was coming to him, talking to him about it. He wasn't dumb about it. He knew what was going on. The FBI, the CIA, all of them, the presidents, the senators, they all knew. And in the time of the 1980s, the cocaine, drug epidemic did flourish in the 1980s. It was slowly picking up in the 1960s and 70s, but it was really a big deal. It was something that was happening, something that was big on the earth in the 1980s, and also later on in the years. Okay? Actually, I need you to go to... No, that's good. You good. So also, with the cocaine epidemic as well, the Contras was also getting supplies of the cocaine as far as the exports. So it was being sent back and forth from America to Nicaragua, and also the Contras was also getting high off of it as well. You see what I'm saying? At the same time, trying to fight against the Sandinistas that was out there in Nicaragua, trying to keep the government, established, trying to keep themselves protected, industrialized in Nicaragua, because they didn't want to be under the white man anymore. They didn't want to have anything to do with them. So the counter rebel group was the Contras, trying to destroy the Sandinistas, National Liberation Group. Okay? So now in 1982, Reagan used his entire platform of his presidency to support the democratization of other countries. So Ronald Reagan wanted the whole world to be, capitalist. He didn't want it to be a communist type of world. South America, he wanted control over. So like the faggot he was, he went out in public. He went to the Congress and got money to stop the Sandinistas, to stop Nicaragua, the country of Nicaragua. The place of Nicaragua. He wanted to stop Russia from supporting them, from supporting everybody else, and also stop Russia itself from trying to be a communist place, a place of communism. He wanted everything to be capitalist. He wanted control of what was going on. And the Congress supported him in that. So it kind of stopped certain things in there. It kind of stopped certain things that was going on. All right. So furthermore, so in 1982, when Reagan went out to Congress to break out that deal, he wanted he also had a deal with I believe it was Iraq. Iraq was the one that had to deal with them, because what was going on was that I believe it's Iraq or Iran. So just give me 1 second. So it was Iraq. Okay, I need you to get the Iraq and Iran war. because this is what happened. After the Iraq and Iran war, Iraq had got pretty much scared because Iran had got attacked. And because they had got attacked, it caused Iraq to attack Iran as well. Because they didn't want to be the ones to be attacked next. They didn't want to be the ones to be, conquered. So the war happened between revolution between Iran and Iraq began. I need you to read that a little bit though.
Come.
Yeah.
From the top.
Yeah, that's right.
The protracted war between these neighboring Middle Eastern countries resulted in at least 500,000 casualties and several $1 billion worth of damages.
Right.
But no real gain by either side. Started by Iraq dictator Saddam Hussein in September 1980, the war was marked as The war was marked by indiscriminate ballistic missile attack,
Right.
extensive use of chemical weapons, and attacks on third country oil tankers in the Persian Gulf. Although Iraq was forced on the strategic defensive, Iran was unable to reconstruct I don't know.
Don't worry about it. Unable to effective armor for information. Just keep going, it's fine.
Anyway, effective armor formations of its air force and could not penetrate Iraq's borders deeply enough to achieve precise results.
Okay, stop right there. So also with this war, what happened was, with this war, this caused Saddam Hussein to come into power. Everybody should know who Saddam Hussein is. Very popular, very famous. And with this war, he became in power. That the Iraqis had all the tanks, all the aircrafts, all the weapon, supplies. All right. So once the war ended, something else happened. Okay, well, during the war, you had America supporting the Iraqis and Russia supporting the Iranians. So that's how America and Russia also comes into play with this war as well. Okay, they are also the big influence in this. During the war, the Iranians took over the American embassy. All right, so taking 66 people hostage for about 444 days, from November 4th, 1979 to January 20th, 1981. So that's like half a year by this point, right? So after this happened, America made a deal with Iran to get those 66 people back. So, America sent out an embargo against Iran to other countries so that people would not supply them any goods, would not trade with them anymore. So this also hurt Iran for a second. You know what I mean? It hurt Iran for a good amount of time, and this is also a part of what Ronald Reagan was trying to do, as far as the Congress trying to put an embargo and stop the communism of other countries. Okay, so 444 days was a long ass time, where these hostages got kidnapped by the Iranians in American embassy. Now it doesn't stop there though. Listen to this. In 1984, Iran became bold and kidnapped a CIA director who was operating out in Beirut, whose name was William Francis Buckley. Actually, I need you to get that. William Buckley. Just put it, William Francis Buckley. Search it up. William Francis Buckley, after they kidnapped him, Iran continued to go on a rampage of kidnapping important business people. all right, to show America that, since you put out that hit, as far as in our pockets, as far as our financial stability, we are going to continue to kidnap people in America. William Buckley. Yep, very first one. That's right. And we're going to see who more. Yeah, that's right. I need you to get him real quick. Yeah, we're going to talk about who William Francis Buckley is. It's like, damn, how the hell you get kidnapped by these people, man? Go ahead and get that. You start at, was it American?
He a weird looking ass devil.
All these devils is weird looking. Weird as fuck. Salaki, go ahead.
William Frank Buckley Jr.
Right.
Salaki.
I swear.
He founded National Review magazine in 1955, which had a major impact in stimulating the conservative movement. Hosted 1,429 episodes of the television show.
Okay, just read on a little bit more.
Fire and Lane is the show name.
Right.
Where he became known for his transatlantic accent and wide vocabulary, and wrote a national syndicated newspaper column, along with numerous spy novels. Keep on.
No, it's fine. Actually, so I just want to get a little background knowledge of him. So this guy who got kidnapped, the CIA, one of the CIA directors, was very well known, very famous, and it was a tragedy to America that he had got kidnapped. They thought this man was going to be killed, die in the hands of these Iranians, but that's not the case. The whole point of him getting kidnapped was to show America, look, you told everybody to stop trading with us. Now we got to take something from you. So if you do not change this, these people will die. We will continue to take all of you and kill you. So what happened is that in Israel, with the Israeli people, America was secretly doing deals with the Iranians. So what happened? Ronald Reagan already came out and said in public that we are not, doing any things in secret and private. We are not supporting terrorists. We're not supporting anybody that's going against our Constitution, etc. But that was a lie. Because in order for the people of America to be safe, in a sense, they had to do a deal with, the Israeli people, so that people in America would not die. It wouldn't bring any attention to, America. But let's keep going on what happened, though. All right. Also, with the Israeli people, on their behalf of America, they were being sold weapons, tanks, missiles, all these things that they needed in war. They happened to get another resource of income as well. Okay? So, Iran, trading with Iran, Slovakia. So also, this is very important. When America was supporting Iran, they was not really able to support the Contras. The Contras were low on weapons, low on supplies, low on military whatever. And they were getting their ass whooped out there in Russia, man. They were losing, not Russia, Slovakia. They were losing to the Sandinistas. And also with that, the Soviets. The Soviets was the Russians as well. The Russians that was helping the Sandinistas fight against the Contras. Because the Contras was trying to take over, back over Nicaragua. So that didn't happen though. So the Contras was getting their ass whooped because they had lack of military power. So America and the Contras, Contras, is talking to America like, what's going on? But no one realized that America was supporting Iran. Now, let me say this. The money that America was making of trading with the Iran, he used that money to fund the Contras later on. Now, what most people don't understand is that the Contras was giving America cocaine in return to the American CIA agents. So there was more transporting, trading of cocaine use to support, to fund the Contras. All right. I need you to close out of that. I need you to get the Iran and Contra scandal. That's what I need you to get. So this ties into the Iran and Contra scandal because everybody thought that America was not doing any, supporting terrorists, killers, supporting people that will, potentially hurt America. That's what people thought. But I'm going to show you what happened. All right? I'm going to show you what happened to,
Is it Contra?
Yeah, yep. Iran Contras and yep, that's right. I'm going to show you what happened to where everything changed. How America got ratted out. Okay? No. Actually, it's like get Okay, his name is Eugene Hassenfuss. It's a weird ass name. I know all these motherfuckers got a weird name. No, you good. Actually, just go to that Iran Contras affair. That's what I need. The facts and summary, right? No, facts and summary right there. Come, because after that, I'm gonna show you what happened next. So, if anybody knows anything, none of us was really born around this time. But it was big on the news that Ronald Reagan had dealings with Iran. They had some type of, system going on. And everybody was so confused about it because he literally came out in public and told everybody, the whole face of America, no, not even the face of America, the whole world, that he was not doing anything illegal with these people. Go ahead and read that.
Come on. The Iran-Contra affair was a secret U.S. government arms deal that fed some American hostages held in Lebanon, but also funded armed conflict in Central America. In addition, the controversial deal-making and the ensuing political scandal
Right.
threatened to bring down the presidency of Ronald Reagan.
Start right there. So it came out that Ronald Reagan, man, he was out there, really having secret dealings with these people. And the thing is, it caused them to be exposed. But here's where the exposure goes to a whole nother level. A man by the name of Eugene Hassenfuss. Hassenfuss is a weird ass name, but Eugene, right? I believe it was 1986. The man Eugene was driving, was flying a plane. When he flew this plane, it got shot down. So when it got shot down and he got captured, inside the plane was weapons. It was weapons for the Contras. So the Contras, was expecting weapons to fight against the Sandinistas in Nicaragua. So what happened was it got shot down, he got captured, and that's when a report came out that they were America was supporting the Contras, and the Contras was created by America. And that's where Ronald Reagan got more heat, had more pressure on his hands. Because remind you, he came out to the whole world and lied, pretty much. And that's the hypocrisy in the white man, is, the lions and everything like that. He don't tell everybody what he got going on. That's very understandable. But this man, he was selling crack cocaine. And very soon, we are about to jump into how it was affecting the people. All right. So, I need you to read a little bit more about that, though.
Come.
If you could.
One right here.
Yeah. Yep. I need that. That's perfect.
The Iran-Contra affair, or Iran Gate, may not have happened were it not for the political climate of the early 1980s. President Ronald Reagan, who won the White House in 1980, wasn't able to maintain the momentum for his Republican colleagues, and the GOP was swept from the majority in both the Senate and White House representatives in the 1982 midterm election. The results would complicate the president's agenda. So during his campaign for the White House, Reagan had promised to assist anti-communist insurgencies around the globe. But the so-called Reagan doctrine faced a political hurdle following these midterm elections.
So pretty much, a lot of people was losing a lot of faith inside Ronald Reagan because of the allegations that he had made, all the things that he had confessed or came out. Now also the Lebanese broke out a story saying that America was also supporting Iran, not just the terrorists in Nicaragua, but also the terrorists, in Iran. So this went to trial. I need you to get a man named Oliver North. A man by the name of Oliver North had got onto trial. And when this man got onto trial, he spilled the beans about every goddamn thing. He didn't hold shit in. He told everything. He told what was going on between the CIA, I believe the DEA as well, and Ronald Reagan. Also Nixon. Nixon plays into the war on drugs as well, or with the trading of cocaine between these places. All right. Let me see. I need you to get the second paragraph.
Right here.
All right. That's the most important.
This one.
Yep. That's right. Yep.
Oliver North is primarily remembered in his term as a National Security Council staff member during the Iran-Contra affair.
That's right.
A political scandal of the late 1980s. The scandal involved the illegal sale of weapons to Iran to encourage the release of U.S. hostages then held in Lebanon. The North formulated the...
You said Lebanon?
Lebanon.
Oh, Lebanon. Yeah, that's right. That's right, yeah. That's the people of Lebanese that broke out the story against America, saying they had ties with Iran. Yep, keep going.
Oliver North formulated the second part of the plan, which was the divert proceeds from the arms sale to support the Contra rebel groups in Nicaragua.
So stop right there. So this is also another man who was working with Vice President George Herbert Walker Bush, who was partaking in the war on drugs, partaking in supporting the rebel groups, all right, which was the Contras, the people in Iran, the Iranians, the Israeli people, and they were also supporting other people as well, as far as with the Cold Wars, all right. So America, the CIA is behind all the wars, behind the military setup, behind the weapons, behind the trading. Okay? And what this happened was another man. So once Oliver North was on the stand, he came out and told everything. Everybody, everybody tried to push it under the rug about the situation. Then came another man who was not a part of any of this, but he did some investigation on his own. His name was Gary Webb. Gary Webb was a guy. I need you to get who Gary Webb was. Gary Webb was an author who wrote a book called Dark Alliance. And Dark Alliance is a pretty good book. You should go out and read it. And it digs really, really deep into the investigation behind, his name is Gary Webb. Yeah, Gary Webb. So Gary Webb was dig deep into the investigation of the war on drugs, the CIA and what they had going on, because he had some speculations about what the hell was going on, and he got some help from who you may know as Rick Ross. But Rick Ross, I'm not talking about the rapper. I'm not talking about the rapper though, right? It was a dude who was very popular, named I think his name is Ricky Rose, or Ricky Rose Ross or something like that. He was a big time drug dealer, and the rapper Rick Ross, which is a fake ass nigga, he copied his legacy, he copied his name, etc. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's funny, huh?
Yeah. Now all I can think of is Rose.
You funny as hell.
Pears.
I need you to get that though.
All I got is pears.
That's funny as hell.
Pears.
All right, so get who Gary Webb was.
Come on. Gary Stephen Webb was an American investigative journalist.
Right. Author, writer, right, same thing.
He began his career working for newspapers in Kentucky and Ohio.
That's right.
Winning numerous awards and building a strong reputation for investigative writing.
Mm-hmm.
Hired by the San Jose Mercy News.
Yep, that's right. He's like a news anchor.
Webb contributed to the paper's Pulitzer Prize-winning coverage of the Loma Prieta's earthquake.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Webb
is best known. That's what I mean. Webb is best known.
Webb is best known for his Dark Alliance series, which appeared in the Mercy News in 1996.
1996. Now, I just need you to stop right there real quick, because I'm just break down the rest, right? Because of time's sake. So look, Gary Webb was a man who came out with a book called Dark Alliance. And with Dark Alliance, he came out and said, that the CIA is really working behind our backs, because the breaking news stories that came out against America and all the ties and stuff like that, it kind of got pushed away under the rug and stuff like that. But this book, Dark Alliance, you have to read it. It gets deeper into what was really going on, like step by step, and how it all came to be. What it was. Something that was evil, something that was illegal, something that was, being in secret. So Gary Webb met up with a guy, like I said, not Rick Ross, but his name is Ricky Ross. Yeah, Ricky Ross. And Rick Ross stole his identity as a drug dealer. I used to be a drug dealer, I used to be a cop and all this, now I'm a rapper, boom, whatever. All that shit's dead, right? So Ricky Ross, a big-time drug dealer from 1980, 1984-ish, was working with Gary Webb, and Gary Webb pretty much got interviews from Ricky Ross. So he told Gary Webb everything that was going on. Yeah, we had got, I met this guy. This guy told me how to, sell drugs. He told me how to make it on a pot. And what people don't understand is that black people think that niggas created crack, cocaine. We the ones that just started selling it. You know what I mean? No, white boys started selling that shit first. And what is so crazy about this is this, right? The whole thing that's crazy about this is that the scientists are the ones who created the shit in the lab,
Right.
taught these brothers how to do it. And watch the movie Kill the Messenger. Kill the Messenger also talks about, one second. Kill the Messenger also talks about the Dark Alliance book, also talks about Gary Webb, and also speaks about in depth of how it all came to play. How Ricky Ross was also working with the scientists of the CIA, working with the Ronald Reagan administration to make this shit happen. And with Ricky Ross being a part of this, it was helping further destroy black people. That's where the war on drugs come in with black people. All right, we're going to further get into it. All right, also Gary Webb got killed. They say that Gary Webb committed suicide. If you look at the picture, the images of Gary Webb, he has 2 bullet wounds in his head. How can you commit suicide and shoot yourself twice? That's not possible. I mean, it's not. It's not possible to kill yourself. I mean, shoot yourself 2 times, unless you had a goddamn automatic that was self-shooting itself. I mean, just pull the trigger by itself. Go ahead. You want to say something?
I was gonna say, the white man sells crack at your local pharmacies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then he got the nerve to talk about a nigga selling drugs, but he's selling cocaine out your pharmacy to your grandma.
Exactly.
Literally.
Exactly. And also, if it wasn't for these other countries, America would not have such a huge pharmaceutical company or business. You know what I mean? Because America depends on these other countries for the oil, for the weapons, for the herbs. You know what I mean? All the natural herbs. So that's why this was going on. That's why this came in play. But the CIA was getting high off of the supply. When the CIA was busting other people, other niggas for the drugs, they were stepping on it to make it less potent. But they were still getting high off of it, off the supply. It was a way to set up black people. So after Gary Webb got killed, the movie, Kill the Messenger came out. Now, let's step back a few steps backwards. In 1971, Richard Nixon, who was president, declared a war on drugs, and he has said that America had a public enemy. Number one being drug abuse. So he came out with an anti-drug abuse campaign with the war on drugs. Now, Nixon in 1973 created the DEA, which stands for Drug Enforcement Agency. Nixon said the purpose of DEA was to stop and fight against the drug abuse. So the war on drugs, but that was a lie apparently. And it was a way to monopolize and monitor and regulate the drug trade. That's where Nancy Reagan comes in. Go to Nancy Reagan for me.
Okay.
Now this devil, she died, I believe, March 3rd of 2 years ago. I believe that's the accuracy of her death, where this white bitch died. Captain Soccer has an amazing I.S.U.P.K blog post online on the internet, and it's called The Death of a Trap Queen. Captain Soccer, being so eloquent in his speech and very knowledgeable, he digs a little bit deeper to what I'm talking about. He digs deeper into the campaign in which Nancy Reagan had created to destroy black and Hispanics. If you thought Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton was something, if you thought Trump was something, you better look up who Ronald Reagan was, who Nixon was, who Nancy Reagan was, who George, Herbert Walker Bush was. These people had an agenda against black people. And we are going to get into the studies of a drug called bazooka and crack cocaine and how it affected black people. All right? Go ahead and get that.
Come, you want me to
read the title, yep.
This is Vice on Vice.com, the news section. It says, "Just say no, how Nancy Reagan helped America lose the war on drugs."
Yeah, right. That's just ridiculous. Keep going.
Nancy Reagan, a former Hollywood actress and the widow of President Ronald Reagan, died at her home in California on Saturday at the age of 94.
That old ass bitch, most time crush, she died. That's the real death of a trap queen, and Reagan is next. Nixon, all them devils is next. All right, keep going.
Leaving behind a legacy as one of the most influential and controversial first ladies in American history.
And the reason why she's making so much buzz was because of the campaign. Everybody really thought that she had some type of love or compassion for black and Hispanic people. When the drugs was being sold in Los Angeles of California, and then later Chicago, later New York, later Philly, and in the minority places, neighborhoods of black and Hispanic people only. When this was happening, this campaign further supported the crack epidemic, the cocaine epidemic. And watch the movie called 13th, with the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment movie on Netflix, it's still on Netflix, it's a very good documentary, but it will have you hating white people even more. Like with all the information against these people coming out, with them saying, yes, it was true, we did do this, blah, 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 nobody was persecuted because of the laws, because of the amendment, which is hypocrisy, because if a nigga was to do that today, he would be locked up for years. And I'm also getting into that too. I'm going to get into who Joe Biden was. Joe Biden is one hell of an evil devil as well. Very, very evil as well, all right? And what he did against black people as well, with helping Nancy Reagan, with helping Ronald Reagan, all of them. Go ahead and get that.
Okay. The Reagans, who were in the White House from 1981 to 1989, are often heralded as setting the controversial standard for the decades to come.
Right.
Embodying neoliberalism and other philosophies that modern Republican presidential candidates often invoke to attract voters. They also presided over the sharp escalation of America's war on drugs.
Right. Keep going.
Which led to the era of tough on crime. Rhetoric. And draconian. What's that word? What's that word? Draconian.
Yeah.
Politics.
Yeah.
See, sidebar real quick. They just be making up any kind of words, man.
Yeah, because they like to be political correct.
That makes no sense. Salakia.
No, you start right there though, because I'm gonna say this though. So Reagan also supported his wife, Nancy Reagan, in the campaign. And the campaign is just say no to drugs and yes to life. But it got shortened to just say no to drugs. As she came out with the campaign, the CIA was out there, still selling drugs, still out there supporting, the trading with other countries with the cocaine use, with the crack use. Now, this is where it gets crazy. Before I do that, though, I need a script. I need scriptures now. By this time, I need scriptures. Psalms 55 and 21. It's the best one that we can get for this situation. We always like to get biblical because the Bible is the only book that is unbiased, that is always correct, never wrong. and it really reflects the times of today.
So I can
Psalms 55 and 21. All right.
Okay.
And I'm gonna show you the start of her the start of all this campaign that she did towards black people. It was the worst thing that she ever could do to a nigga. You know what I mean? It destroyed a lot of families. Go ahead.
Come. Psalms chapter 55, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
Say that one more time.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
Now, if you go to the videos, if you go to the articles, if you dissect the campaign and what she had, everything that she promised, man, everything that she promised in the campaign never happened. Everybody's cheering on, you know, supporting her, funding her, and none of it happened. Just say no to drugs was just another way to, you know, do more business. Let's find better ways. Let's find more secretive ways to destroy niggas. While niggas was high on drugs, what was going on? They were not fighting against the wickedness of white people no more. Their fight was harder. Their fight wasn't easier. Them being high off the drugs is what slowed our people down. Read that one more time from the start.
Come. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
The words of his mouth was smoother than butter. That just say no to drugs and say yes to life, and I will help you, I will support you, I will help you and your family was all a lie. It was a lie. And black people believed it at that time during the campaign. In the 1970s, the 1980s, and the 1990s, and now the 2000s. With her, after she left the White House, after Ronald Reagan was no longer the president, the campaign, the business of the campaign was still hurting black Hispanic people. And also, you know, discussing rich niggas like Ricky Ross, that nigga right there, man. Helping the white man, you know, further destroy our people, it slowed us down, man. It still affects us to this day. But during that time, in the 60s, 70s, all the way up to the 90s, all the way up to now, commanding Gen.YAHANNA was the only man who did not compromise. Because he's taking care of the nation right now. A lot of people grew up with both parents on drugs or one parent being on drugs. And that was the household of many black and Hispanic people. That was because of Nancy Reagan. That was because of Ronald Reagan, the CIA, and also I believe the FBI and the DEA as well with Nixon in 1971 to 73. Okay? Keep going.
Come. But war was in his heart.
Mm-hmm. But war was also in his heart. As the campaign came out, it was an opportunity to further kill niggas. It was an opportunity against us. We got to find a way to kill these niggas. We got to find a way to weaken them so they don't overthrow us. They don't overpower us. They don't find out who they really are as a people. And the only reason why we ended up on drugs was because we forgot the Bible. We forgot the laws in which the Most High has gave us. Because in the law, it tells you that you cannot smoke anything. I don't care if it's paper. Shit. I don't care if it's weed. And don't get me started on the weed, because that is a herb that you are supposed to take if you have a sickness, if you have chronic pain. Also, you can take cocaine in a pill form, coca. You can take that for, chronic pain, which is extreme pain, and for other things as well. Weed being for glaucoma. If you ain't got none of that, you can't diagnose yourself. You're not supposed to smoke anything. I don't care what anybody tells you. And I.S.U.P.K, If anybody is doing drugs, they have a prescription for it. It's not out of lust. It's not out of wickedness. We take medication. And what a lot of people don't know is that, like cocaine, I believe cocaine is found, and a low dose of cocaine is found in like Tylenol, Advil, and things of that sort. That's why certain people get high off the shit. You see what I'm saying? Your volumes and all that. There's doses of that inside of there. But are we abusing it? No. You got a headache? Take you Advil. Take you, Tylenol. Take you whatever you have to take to, get that pain, get that, muscle disease off, off of you, arthritis, all that. See what I'm saying? What's it called? Parkinson disease?
Yep.
Yeah, Parkinson disease. All these things, man, you need a prescription. You need to know what the law says about this. You need to get counsel about this. All right? Don't just fall into the temptation and lust, and don't try to play yourself or play the Most High. Really, you can't. Don't be dumb. All right? Jump to Proverbs 16 and 25. I'm going to show you what Proverbs 16 and 25 says about drug use, about the herbs, because the book of Genesis, the first chapter, I believe, verse 29, tells you that all herbs are good. It's for us to use, but it's about how you use it. Go ahead.
You said 25?
16 and 25, yeah.
Proverbs chapter 16, verse 25. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
So it might seem right to a man, to a woman, that, taking this drug might give me the ease to my pain. It might help me cope with what I got going on. Smoking it, snorting it is all against the law. That's not something we do. It's a right way and a wrong way to take herbs, man. Also, you have weed tea. Instead of smoking it, you drink it. You got it in pill form too. Keep going. Actually, read that from the top one more time.
There is a way that seemeth right unto a man.
There's a way that seems right unto a man. This smoking everything, seems right to a man. But what happens? Go ahead.
But the end thereof are the ways of death.
But the end of thereof is the ways of death. If you pay close attention to black people, Hispanic people who do drugs, what happens? They die. If they have long-term drug use, they die. Sometimes it could be a short-term use. Most drugs, like heavy drugs like heroin, crack, all that can kill you. Also, weed makes you lazy, man. How the hell can you fight any type of war, whether it's spiritual, whether it's physical? How can you fight when you're lazy off of damn weed? That's the most known factor of it. Everybody's talking about, yeah, weed is good. That's the only thing that can't kill you. Every goddamn thing can kill you. Everything. Anything can kill you on this earth. You see what I'm saying? You taking too much of anything can kill you. They say water's the healthiest thing, but even that. A lot of fruit can kill you. You see what I'm saying? Like, people is dumb as hell out here. You don't know anything. You built a religion off of weed, off of crack, off of cocaine. People was like, yeah, I'm still living a good life because I just snort a little. But I still take care of my kids. I still, do what I have to do. That's not the purpose. The purpose is this. You are sinning. Because of that sin, everybody else is going to end up on drugs too. If you do not stop it, if you do not try to fight against it, try to get the help and counsel that you need, what's going to happen is what? Everybody else is going to be on it. Then what? When a white man comes to attack you again, like he is right now, if he comes to, running your house, then what? You're going to be high, like, take them. What you going to do? How can you fight? How can you consciously perceive what the hell is going on? You can't, because you're high out your mind. But understand that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
And we have to fight against his oppression, but we cannot be weak. We can't let that be a excuse to be weak. Read verse 27.
Come. Proverbs chapter 26, or chapter 16, verse 27. An ungodly man diggeth up evil.
And a godly man diggeth up evil. Now, herbs come from the dirt, right? From the earth. That's very true. Weed, cocaine, the poppy seed, dandelion root, whatever. All this stuff comes from the earth. That's the herb too. You can use it for tea as well. It's very, very helpful as well. So you really don't need a prescription for that. Dandelion root, it really cleans out a lot of stuff in your system.
They also be digging up them potatoes.
Potatoes.
Too many potatoes to kill you too.
But herbs. So with all the herbs, it said, okay, herbs come from the earth, right? Just read that one more time from the top. So we get further understanding. Go ahead.
Come. An ungodly man diggeth up evil.
Keep going. Go ahead.
And in his lips, there's a burning fire.
In his lips, there's a what?
Burning fire.
There's a burning fire. That's talking about smoking, man. That's talking about tobacco. So go ahead.
Yeah, you just said it, tobacco.
Yeah, that's talking about tobacco. That's talking about weed, crack, whatever you're smoking. It says an ungodly man. Now, are you ungodly to dig up something from the dirt? No. But what's ungodly is you smoking. That thing that's in between your lips. It's called, the wrapping papers. See what I'm saying? That weed, that tobacco, whatever. I heard people smoking flockas, smoking with all types of shit, man. Wet. It's like, I don't know what that is. It's all types of shit. You see what I'm saying? Next thing, they's trying to smoke niggas. All right? See what I'm saying? Like, goddamn.
That vaporizer too.
Vaporizer, that even hurts your lungs, hurts your body quicker.
Man.
See what I'm saying? You know that? Yeah, that hurts your body even worse. In a faster time period. It can give you cancer. That's what people do not know. Smoking an e-cigarette, it's healthier, it's from the earth, and it's not destroying the atmosphere and all that gay shit. It's still a sin. Alright? So, now look at this though. As early as 1974, the U.S. government, the CIA, was monitoring the effects of the drug called bazooka. Now, this is where shit gets crazy, right? The drug called bazooka. It sounds like a damn gun or something.
Bazooka. I've been thinking that
the whole time. So, the drug bazooka was a drug that was very similar to crack cocaine. I'm just giving it to you, okay? Because it is, right? The effects of bazooka, when a scientist or the CIA the scientists were studying the effects of black people in Nicaragua. This is where the scientists were, studying black people, and also in Los Angeles. When they were studying the effects of these people and monitoring, watching them for a time period, they saw that they abandoned every aspect of human life. And what that means is what? If you see a crackhead today, they're completely out of their mind. When I say out of their mind, I mean they're not conscious. They're just doing whatever. They're itching, they're scratching. You know what I mean? They're rubbing on their nose. They're trying everything to get that. They're drowsy as hell, dehydrated, no lack of food, no lack of sense of mortality. There's no morals inside of someone who is smoking crack or who's doing coke. And that's the same effects that bazooka had. All right, smoking it, of course. So it had the same exactly pharmacological effects as crack cocaine. So now also, when black people were smoking this in Nicaragua and Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, um, black people were in no need of fighting anymore. They had no sense of, uplifting their people, trying to get them in a place of being strong again. So this caused our people to get high and get and lead us to die off. A lot of us. All right. I need you to get Exodus 22 and 18.
Okay.
And with Exodus 22 and 18, I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you something about what is the spirit of a drug dealer. Because we're not cutting any drug dealers any slack because of the situation of them selling drugs to our people. Go ahead.
Con. Exodus chapter 22, verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Read that one more time, but a little louder.
Con. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Now, growing up, we thought of a witch. We think of a witch of some white bitch whose face is painted white. Green or whatever the case may be. Some tall ass hat, some black ass dress, some pointy shoes with a broomstick, with a pot, and she's stirring up something. And that reminds me of a drug dealer. It doesn't only remind me of a drug dealer, but that is a drug dealer.
So like,
go ahead.
Look at the flick of the wrist.
Look at the flick of the wrist, exactly. They got that dance, and they got the cooking. They call it cooking.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's a dance.
Yeah.
And it's just like the flick of the wrist. You see what I'm saying? And what's funny about it, what's not funny, but what's crazy about it is that black people support these dances. They put it all in the songs and the entertainment. Niggas like, yeah, that's a real nigga, man. He was moving dope. He was, he was like moving dope. He was selling dope, and man, he's the richest nigga alive. I want to be like that. That doesn't make any sense, man. You know what's crazy about that though? Niggas support it, and America supports it. But at the same time, in the white man's hypocrisy or America's hypocrisy, what they do, they still lock you up for it. So with reading that, a witch is a drug dealer. A drug dealer is a witch. Simple as that. They are cooking up something, and anytime a witch, if you watch a movie of something animated or a cartoon or something of a witch, anytime they stir up something, stop laughing. Anytime they stir up something, what happens? Whatever is in that damn pot is filled with witchcraft, wickedness, and it's going to affect that person in a negative way all the time, right? That's always the case when you're watching, a witch just stirring up something.
So like,
she always talking about put a spell on you. Go ahead.
The way you know how drug dealer is a witch is because all right, you think of it like this, right? The witch is giving that person the potion, right, and it puts them under a spell.
That's the whole point.
And then a nigga getting, your little fix of your weed, that's putting you under a spell. You high out your mind, can't do nothing, you know what I'm saying? Looking retarded.
Right, and and with weed, with crack cocaine, it does put a spell on black people, right, mentally and spiritually, well, just all the way around. It puts them in a trance. And it's something that is not of the Most High. I'm going through pain, I'm going through this and that, but you're sinning against the law, man. You're getting high, you're playing yourself. And black people have got to a point to where they sell their own mama drugs.
Right.
And they have no problem seeing that. All the drug overdose, all the heart attacks, all the strokes, all the health problems, all the death that comes with these drugs. All right. Now also in 1978 through 1984, within the 6-year period time, there was 19 to 25 tons of crack cocaine coming into America. Coming in by America. And this is not that long ago. Now, years later. So the next one was, 71, so from 19 to 25 tons of cocaine being moved into America. Next was 71 to 137 tons of cocaine was being moved in a capitalist market where the people who had cocaine was raising up the product of it so it can be sold. So that's when around this time, around the 70s and 80s, was when cocaine on the streets was big money. It was better than heroin. It was better than your weed. It was better than everything else. If it wasn't crack, it was whack, pretty much. You wasn't making any money or anything. Now, for the people that were selling the weed, there was something else. I'm going to get into that. So the capitalist market were the people who was, selling the products and raising up the prices. And with the capitalism, that's the drive. What's up? No sweat. Give me a sec. Oh yeah, okay, I know. Going over time. Okay, no sweat. With America being a capitalist country, you also have to understand that this is where the system of demand drives supply. So if people wanted crack, it got raised up, more money in order to get it. So that's how America became more rich. All right. So this is what was going on in South America, and white men control all of this, by the way. With the Contras being there, they were doing business, also trying to get rid of the Sandinistas. From 1984 to 1989, the crime rates of black people went up by 30%. That's when it became really a war on drugs. When black people started to get a hold of the drug and start to die off. So 30% of the people, black people from the ages of 14 to 17, males, they start to die off. It gets worse. Ages between 18 and 24, it went up by 10% more as the years went on. So in 1986, Ronald Reagan signed and passed an Anti-Drug Abuse Act. With this Anti-Drug Abuse Act, this is when the war on drugs really began. This is really when shit popped off. You start dying, gangs were being, the drugs were being sold to the Crips and the Bloods. And with the Crips and the Bloods became, more envy, more strife, all the things that the scriptures talks about as far as what brotherhood can do for Crips and Bloods, which we can get along. We can have something called unity, and we can fix our people. But in this case, we were destroying our people, man. You see what I'm saying? That's when the white man really destroyed our people. And that's why today we have to do something. And today we have to get to a place of being conscious. We have to look at the situation in which our people are in, and we have to do something about it.
That's right.
Are we going to support it in a negative way or a positive way? Keep selling drugs for money and income and having people just keep coming to you is not going to help the problem. Stop selling drugs. It's going to drive them away. And spread the word. Stop selling drugs. Say no to that shit before the Most High kills you. All right? I'm going to say one last thing. Joe Biden, who was, Joe Biden, I believe, was a senator as well. And Joe Biden came out with something. He also knew about the crack cocaine epidemic. He knew about all this. He was not stupid. All right? He knew that niggas, though, smoked crack and white people was snorting cocaine. Because they say it was different. So Joe Biden knew that black people smoke crack. So with this being said, he came up with a ratio, 100 to 0. And what that ratio means is this: a person that gets caught with crack should get the penalty of punishment 100 times worse than someone who is being found with cocaine. Why do you think all black, Hispanic, and Native American men are locked up from the 80s and now just getting out? Because of Joe Biden, because of Ronald Reagan, Nancy Reagan. So and that's funny though, because you realize that white boys do smoke crack, but at that time it was more of niggas smoking crack instead of snorting. That's why we got locked up more. We got killed off more by the numbers. That's why we were fighting and killing each other because of drugs.
So,
go ahead.
Isn't cocaine stronger than crack?
They say, yeah. They say it is. Yep, come. You see what I'm saying? So, I need just Mark 3 and 27, then we're done, all right?
Mark 3 and 27?
Yeah, 3 and 27. So I'm going to show you what Mark 3 and 27 says, and then we're going to close out, all right? Because we're going over the time. And I'm gonna explain something with Mark 3 and 27. That's very, very important with, Joe Biden coming out against black people. Go ahead.
Come. Mark chapter 3, verse 27. No man can enter unto a strong man's house.
No man can enter into a strong man's house.
And spoil his goods.
And spoil his goods, meaning spoil the things that are valuable. Keep going.
Except he will first bind the strong man.
Mm-hmm.
And then he will spoil his house.
So black, Hispanic, and Native American people homes got spoiled. That strong man got, spoiled and bound up because of the drugs, because of the crack, because of, the cocaine use, the weed, because of everything that Nancy Reagan, Ronald Reagan, Nixon, Joe Biden, all over the North, the CIA, the DEA, the FBI as well, all coming together to destroy black people. That's how the black man got bounded up. His homes got destroyed. His house became broken, not something that was standing on good ground. And black people in the I.S.U.P.K, we are helping black and Hispanics off of drugs. We are not a people that are weak. You can't be like that. If you want better, you want better for your people, you got to do better. You can't be sitting on the sidelines smoking, saying that you are going to be an activist and a damn leader. You can't help me if you're getting high.
Right.
You can't help me if you're out here being a homosexual.
Right.
You can't help me if you're working with the CIA, like Ricky Ross. Disgusting, man. You can't. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
And black people need to get their shit together, man. So with that being said, Shalom. Yahweh Shemi Al-Shad Barakathon to all my brothers. Shalom Yahweh Shamar. Alathon by Shemi Al-Shad to all my sisters, all right? I.S.U.P.K Minneapolis. Social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Follow, subscribe, like, and share the content. Tag family members. Tag everybody that you know, all right? We'll catch you next Wednesday. Shalom.
Shalom, Israel.
All right.